bow down before both the speakers. And I think both sir and madam both will present together and will benefit a lot from their speech. Over to sir. Atmarpit Rajuji.
Namaste everyone. Good evening. And first of all, I want to appreciate that today in this fast moving world, we are having more than 18 to 19 people here on Sunday evening. Usually the whole world wants to chill out and relax. Seeing you all people here to listen to something which is philosophy shows your love for knowledge. As said by my master, Pujya Gurudev Shri Rakesh Ji, he had explained very nicely. Philosophy means, Sophia means love, and philo means knowledge. So I truly appreciate all of you, and I am so happy that in today's world also there are people who are in truly love with knowledge. And the best part, what touched me is that you are open to listen to everyone. So having a very good platform here to share with you what is Shri Atmasiddhi Shastra, how it is bringing transformation in our lives. I would request Atmarpit Vidhiji to take on and start with having introduction to these things. So first we connect and then we will discuss. Yes, Atmarpit Vidhiji.
Thank you, Rajuji, Atmarpit Rajuji, and thank you, Mohindra sir, and really Pramod sir and Srinivasan sir for really staying with us and being so patient with Rajuji and me. They have been talking to us and we've been trying to organize this, and I know it has been a little difficult, and I really apologize for that, but in scheduling this entire talk. And thank you for your patience. And we had a lot of challenges that we were managing. So I'm so glad that finally we have been able to come together. So just want to clarify, about Atmarpit Rajuji and myself. First of all, it's a very august gathering. You're all very learned people. So I'm also very humbled, as Rajuji said, by your thirst for knowledge and your openness for knowledge. At the outset, I just want to clarify, both Rajuji and I are not spiritual teachers. We're both spiritual seekers, like so many people, like all of you here. And both of us are known as Atmarpits, which basically means that we've taken some special lifelong vows of celibacy, and we live a life of sadhana and seva as disciples of Pujya Gurudev Shri Rakesh Ji. So at the outset, I do realize that everyone may not know a lot about us. So I'll take about 4 or 5 minutes of your time, and I'll have a short video that we'll play just so that you'll understand where the background is and where we come from, and then speaking more about Atmasiddhi Shastra and what exactly Atmasiddhi Shastra is. So Sharan, if you don't mind, could we start with the video? Okay, thank you. So this video basically is just so you know a little bit about Pujya Gurudev Shri and where exactly Atmarpit Rajuji and I, who our master is, and where we get our inspiration from, and who really is the spiritual teacher and the spiritual master here. So we'll just start with a short video so we understand about Pujya Gurudev Shri. After that, we will be I'll give you an overall view by as Sharan, who has very kindly agreed to help us with the technical aspect. He will be starting the video. So till then, I'll just tell you an overall plan. Both Rajuji and I will be talking about Atmasiddhi Shastra. Our plan is to give you a very brief and quick synopsis and introduction to the Shastra and what exactly it has in store for us. So for that also, we have a brief, we have a short video, which is about a minute or two. And then we will go directly into the different 12 to 13 different parts of the Shastra. Sharan, if you don't mind, is it working? Thank you so much. I can't hear the audio, so you just want to see that. Check that out. You might want to restart.
Okay, give me a second.
Just to see that the audio is on.
Just a second. Can you hear it now?
I can't hear. Now we can. Can you start again? Great, thank you so much. I can't hear it again. So, okay. So what we can do is, Sharon, is that going to be a challenge? Otherwise I can continue. Maybe we can explain our background a little later. Would that be better?
Hello.
Okay, no problem. So I'm going to continue. First of all, I'll start again with the presentation, and it is my great honor to introduce Atmasiddhi Shastra to you. Atmasiddhi Shastra was written, as Sir Kailash Sir already said, was by Srimad Rajchandraji. It's a monumental spiritual scripture. Srimad Rajchandraji, just so we know, and I'm going to give a brief introduction to him, was a great Indian saint of the late 19th century who greatly impacted the lives of numerous people, and including Mahatma Gandhi. And we will see on the screen a little bit of what Mahatma Gandhi has said about him in the presentation as well. His grace is experienced even today through great devotees and saints, and his works continue to transform many lives. There are hundreds of temples and globally dedicated to him, and many social initiatives and programs inspired by him. On his late 150th birthday in 2017, we started on the 150th anniversary, just the starting of the 150th anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. A play called Yug Purush, the Mahatma of the Mahatma, was released on Srimadji and Gandhiji's relations. So, for this presentation, we will be using the concise and complete English commentary written by Pujya Gurudev Shri Rakesh Ji, released just last year, commemorating in October 2021, commemorating and marking the 125th year of the composition of the sacred text. Okay, we have a short video on this also, so let's see if we can directly present that. Can you see that, Sharan?
On Atmasiddhi Ji?
Yeah, on Atmasiddhi Ji. Go ahead. Yes. I see there's an audio issue happening. Sharon, we can't hear the audio. The audio is not.
Go on explaining if.
Yeah, so I can talk about. So this is basically the moment at which the Sri Atmasiddhi was written. It was written on Thursday, October 22nd, 1896, in a small temple, Nana Kumbhnath Temple in Nadia, Gujarat, at about 28 years of age. So overall, the entire Shastra is a very terse, very concise and short Shastra with only 142 verses. What's very interesting is that it was written in there were no resits. It was written in one go in about an hour and a half, which is about 90 minutes. And today what's interesting is a lot of us did a little bit of an experiment, you know. We tried to copy the 142 verses, and it took most of us about 2.5 hours to copy it. But we can see here the magnanimity of a saint where something has flown from something that was beyond a composite writing, a planned writing. It was coming from somewhere else. So overall, we can move ahead with the slide. Move ahead. Next slide, Sharan.
Yeah, you could hear the audio.
Okay, we can hear it now. Can you play it? That will be great.
Play it from the starting would be best.
Yeah. Are you going to be able to play it? Okay, we're feeling some...
Is it audible now?
Yeah.
Very little. Very little. Okay. Thank you. Unfortunately, I think we're having some technical difficulties. So we'll move ahead. This is consistent. Okay. We'll move ahead. Go to the next slide, Sharon. No problem. Okay. Okay. So it was at that time when the entire Granth was revealed 125 years ago, we had not even all the disciples of the time of Srimad Rajchandraji were given the Granth. Only 4 disciples were gifted his work during his lifetime, out of which 3 attained enlightenment in a very short period of time after getting the Granth, and the 4th achieved great spiritual heights and devotion for Srimadji. Since its publication, this great work has then been translated into numerous languages by many scholars across the place. It has been translated into Hindi, English, worthy receivers. Yes, these were the only 4 people that received it at the time of Srimad Rajchandraji, because at the time to talk about the subject and matter of the problems that the current society was facing, which Rajuji will tell us a lot more about, was something that was not very appreciated. So only 4 worthy disciples out of all of them were able to accept the work and were given the work to check. After his passing, many years after his passing, the work became public knowledge now. It has been hailed by great scholars and seekers very highly. Many of you may have heard of Pandit Suklalji. We can move ahead, Shani. Pandit, so these were some of the early translations, beginning translations. Now we have about 15-20 more. We'll move ahead. We've Pandit Suklalji, who is also someone who is, we might know him. He had lost his eyesight at just 16 years of age and still was hailed as a very great Pandit. And also he is a great teacher, the teacher of a very stalwart and celebrated Jain philosopher, writer, author, Sri Padmanabh Jaini. He had said that on reading the Atmasiddhi Shastra and repeatedly contemplating upon its meanings, I cannot but help feel that Sri Rajchandraji in this small composition has shown all that is important to knowing the soul, completely demystified. This Atmasiddhi, and it has been hailed as the Upanishad of the soul at the time. Now, I'll just overall, there are many more people who have spoken about him. There have been other doctors who have spoken about Atmasiddhi Shastra Granth. But I'm just going to give you an overall brief of how it is organized. The Atmasiddhi Shastra has 12 parts and 142 verses. We move to the next slide. It says these are the 12 parts. Where there is an idea of matarthi, atmarthi, which is the attributes of besides the introduction, which is the upodghat. We have the attributes of a bigot, attributes of a true seeker, the 6 fundamental truths, which I will talk about a little later, and how they overlap, and they talk about the 6 schools of Indian thought, and how each of the understanding of the 6 schools of Indian thought can lead us closer and closer to the attainment of the soul. So Rajuji and I, what we are planning right now is we quickly go through each of the parts separately. So at this, I will invite Rajuji to please start with the introduction and give us a brief of the introduction of the text. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vidhiji. So let us start with the first section. It is called Upodhati.
Oh, I can't hear you.
The mic is on.
Yeah, now
we can hear him. We can hear him.
It's working. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, this Shastra starts with Upodghat, which means introduction. And the most interesting part here is that Param Gopaudev, we call him fondly, Srimad Rajchandraji, has very nicely given the basic requirements before any study of a Shastra or a scripture. So especially this scripture being very spiritual, and the main purpose of this is to realize the self. So what is required in this? So if we see the first Gatha itself, Jai Swarup Samjha Vina means without knowing my true nature, I have undergone infinite suffering. So basically each and every person on this earth wants happiness, wants to get rid of suffering. But we don't know the right way. And what was the thing which is missing is I'm not knowing my true nature. And so in this first, the obeisance to Sadguru, a spiritual mentor, true mentor, who helps us disciples to realize our own self, and by which we can experience infinite bliss. So in this first verse, after giving the obeisance to the true mentor, he starts with the scripture. So here, as we all know, we are from Indian culture, and everybody knows how much is the importance of a master in disciples' life. We say na, Guru bina gnana na mile. We need a master who can give us the right knowledge and the right experience. So we move to the next verse. In the next verse, what he's explaining is, in this present times, the path of liberation has become extinct. Why? Because the essence has been lost. It is not that people are not religious. People are religious. People are doing a lot of religious activities also. But here, if a true seeker wants to know the path of liberation, or I would say path of self-realization, Atmasiddhi, that thing Srimad Rajchandraji has given it here, and a true seeker, we call him an Atmarthi. So that Atmarthi, or a true seeker, what he has to think, how he has to think, and how this thinking leads to the realization has been explained here without considering, as it has been told by the Lord. So now comes a very important thing. As I said, in the next verse, we'll see, verse 3, that there are two types of deluded people. So this is the current scenario, the current times. It is very, very heartening to know that in the current times, people have lost the essence of religion. It is not that people are not doing religious activities. You may be knowing, and you may be seeing also people around. There are a lot of people doing a lot of activities, but what is the current state? It is a very, very a worse state, because people, though they are doing a lot of religious activities, there is no inner connection. So very beautifully here he says, Mane marga mokshano karuna upuje joy. Karuna, compassion. Though people are doing a lot of activities, but they are going nowhere. So I would explain everything with the help of an example. So you know what? My examples, they connect us very well, right? So there are two types of people. Some are doing a lot of activities. Some are just involved into knowledge. So I'll tell you one thing. Many of you must have this experience. You may be having a young girl in your house, your daughter, whom you are trying to teach cooking, right? So suppose you have two daughters. One daughter is very good in knowing all the recipes. She knows all at the tip of the tongue. She can say, pit pat, what are the procedure, what are the ingredients required. But she has never ever tried cooking, actual cooking. Okay, so this is one type of daughter you are having, right? The second daughter, who is very, very enthusiastic in doing all the things. She's cutting the vegetables, making ready everything, and doing lot of things in the kitchen, but she doesn't know the procedure. She doesn't know the process. She doesn't know how to do it. So now you only tell me, any of one can be a good cook? No. Because one has lot of knowledge, but is not applying. One is doing lot of things, but doesn't have knowledge. So here, in the first section, though many activities are being done by people, but they are not into the path of liberation. This is the current scenario which Parang Upadhyay Srimad Rajchandraji is seeing. And you know what? Very beautiful example our master has given. A knife. It cuts a mango. But does the knife get the sweetness of mango? No. Similarly, lot of people are doing religious activities, but there is no inner connection. And the best part is Parang Upadhyay has used the word Antarbhedanakai. Nothing of inner transformation is experienced by this mechanical ritualist. On the other hand, we are having dry intellectualist. What do dry intellectualists do? They talk a lot of soul. They talk about Brahma. They do everything, but they just speak about it. They don't put into the practice in their daily life. So this two types of people, Parang Upadhyay is seeing in this world, and he's having compassion. So I would like to stress here, all these scriptures, what we are getting is out of compassion towards us. And so even our Sadgurudev, our master, he always asks us, can you check your activities? Are you doing it with proper knowledge? If you are doing it with proper knowledge, and are you experiencing the transformation within you or not, is very important. So basically, two types of people are explained in this section. Along with that, some very important things like not to have swachan. Swachan means self-will. Simple example I'll tell you. If you want to teach your son driving, and he's sitting with you, he's driving. Sometimes he follows your instructions, sometimes he doesn't follow your instructions. What will happen? He will not learn properly because he is getting carried away by self-will. So here, some of the points have been taken very nicely by Srimad Rajchandraji regarding self-will, regarding reverence for master. Reverence means, Vinay. So Vinay, self-will, and how scriptures have to be studied is explained in this first section. So now, after this section comes the next section of who are these people and how are they been explained, will be explained by Atmarpit Vidhiji.
Thank you, Rajuji. I'm wondering, Pramod sir, are you there on this meeting right now? You are, right? So quick question to you, sir. You have heard of this eats, shoots and leaves?
Pramod sir.
Yeah, Kailash sir, you're there, I'll ask you, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Okay, sir. So there's something as simple as this one statement, eats, shoots and leaves. So Rajuji very nicely said, when you have given an example, I think things really deeply, you can understand more deeply. So Kailash sir, tell me, eats, shoots and leaves. What would you understand with this?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Please. One second.
No problem, no problem. So there are two ways of looking at it, sir.
Yes.
So it is either eats, shoots, that means he eats, shoots someone and leaves the place. Or very simply, anyone can answer if anyone knows. There's another way of looking at it. It's a panda that eats what? Shoots and leaves. But the idea is, Matarthi is here, which Rajuji spoke about very beautifully, the bigots, the two major types of people that are there, the bigots that are there. There are two major categories. One, which is the Kriyajar, which is the mechanical ritualist. And second is the Shushka Gnani. Now I'm going to ask one more question to everyone, or if anyone wants to answer, they can. Something as simple as Gaadi ko mat roko. Gaadi ko roko mat, jane do. Versus Gaadi ko roko, mat jane do. There's a very clear, very simple thing where you have to, the words are the same, exact same words. Gaadi ko roko mat, jane do. Versus Gaadi ko roko, mat jane do. Something, all the words being the same, but when you're seeing that the interpretation is very, very different. This is the core difference between a worldly person and a matarthi or a bigot. Here, imagine a person who has in fact studied and is religious, but has misinterpreted the whole thing. What the great ones have said and have pointed at, worse still, sometimes a bigot is not just one who's not understood, but insists that what we are saying, the concept that we are saying, that my concept is the right concept. That is really where this whole idea of a bigot comes in. We're thus working hardcore. So it's a very sad situation because we're working hardcore in the course of religion. And still you will see that the bigots are missing out on the true benefit of religion. Or sometimes, what's sometimes even worse, is going in the exact opposite direction. So in this section, Srimad Rajchandraji Paramkripaludev describes the attributes of a matarthi, a religious person, but a bigot. A matarthi, a deluded fanatic, which we are seeing so much of in the world today, who is absorbed in his own whims. Obstinately, he is convinced by his own opinions only of the interpretation of Shastras, of whatever text you want to speak about. And he is prejudiced, not only that, but he is prejudiced against those who hold different opinions. So if somebody disagrees with them or feels otherwise, there is a prejudice or a dislike for the opposite person. So you will see these two major categories of bigotry, which we are seeing here, the mechanical rituals. So, and some gathas here in the entire section, they talk about both and the characteristics of both in great detail. So bigotry and some gatha, one who is focused on outer facts and rituals would be a mechanical ritualist, and another who believes that knowledge is all that is needed. This kind of person who will say that, say, I am Brahma, or I am the soul alone, I am infinite bliss, but denies the reality of his own current state. I am, even if I am Brahma, but I'm currently in a state of anger, pride, greed, deceit. So in this last verse, okay, Srimadji clarifies, we'll go ahead and move to the verse, last verse. Srimadji here clarifies the main purpose, okay, before I move to Rajuji, will say the purpose of why, so example of this, purpose of the explanation, why this entire Matarthi section has been put, okay, is it to find bigotry outside, or to find, oh, he is a bigot and he is a mechanical ritualist, or he's a dry intellectualist? No, that is not the purpose. The purpose is to look inwards and find these characteristics within ourselves, to see, to reflect, to introspect, and to minutely check and understand whether we ourselves are having any of these traits, because this is what is stopping our spiritual progress. So without further ado, if they are present, we can remove them. We can just put in the right effort to remove them. And Rajuji will speak a lot more about Atmarthi's Lakshan. So what are the attributes of a true spiritual speaker? Rajuji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Vidhiji. So you must be thinking, why did Srimadji first put something negative about, say, bigots, and then now he is talking about a true seeker? You know what? It is very important to know the negative side also, because if we are having something negative in us, we can remove it, right? And so now we come to the main point about being an Atmarthi. So what is an Atmarthi? Simple, he's a true seeker. True seeker who is interested in knowing the self. He's not interested in fighting with others or just doing rituals for namesake, but he wants to experience his own self. And so he's called a true seeker. So first of all, I'll ask you one question. If you want to learn swimming, whom will you approach? Will you go to a library and find a lot of books on swimming and go and read? One option. Another option, go to a person who has done a lot of PhD on swimming, but he doesn't know about swimming. Okay. And now you have a third person who not only knows both the things, he knows the theory also, he knows how to swim also, and very important is he can teach someone also. Because knowing swimming is one thing, and to teach someone swimming is something else, right? So you only tell me which type of teacher would you need? And yes, a true seeker has the clarity of what master, in India we say guru, which type of guru he needs. So let us see the slide in this point. He wants true seekers' belief regarding Sadguru. And the first word is Atmagnan. Atmagnan means one who has realized his own self. You might be knowing when Narendranath, Swami Vivekananda, when he first met Ramakrishna Paramhans, what was the question he asked him? Have you seen God? Have you experienced him? And you know what Ramakrishna Paramhans said? Yes, as clearly as I'm seeing you. And this was the thing. So this shows that Swami Vivekananda was a true seeker. So he was in the search of a right guru. So we need a Sadguru. In English, we can say a true mentor. So this is the first clarity what an Atmarthi has. Now let us go to the second point. What is his concept or clarity regarding dharma, religion? So true seekers' belief regarding religion. Sharan 35-36. Next. Okay. So what happens? Okay, are we clear about dharma? Say in India, no, everybody feels whatever dharma I am born in, that is the right, that is the perfect. It may be, it may not be. I am not saying he is wrong, but we have to accept that the path to the supreme truth is one. Ek hoy tran kalma. Tran kalma means in always there is one path only. Yes, but to that path there are other small roads which lead to that path. So both is accepted. Yes or no? Yeah. Suppose if I am in Dharampur in Gujarat, I want to go to Mumbai. So I have to catch the national highway, right? So if I have to catch the national highway, I will take different roads to catch the national highway, right? So my ultimate aim is to get to the national highway. So this is the clarity regarding a true seeker of dharma. That the path to supreme truth is one and not different, right? And very important, you know what? How did Newton find out gravity? Yeah. You know what? Everybody was seeing an apple falling down. What would we do? We would go take the apple and eat it, right? But what did Newton do? Newton thought about it. And you know what? From that came the gravitational theory. So what was he having? He was having some thinking, out of the box thinking. So what is the thinking here is expected is right thinking. With Sadguru in your life, we can come to the right thinking, and how this right thinking will help, on what topic we need to do her right thinking will be explained by Vidhiji. So that will clear the sections or the main subject of this Atmasiddhi Shastra.
Thank you, Rajuji. That's fantastic. I'll briefly talk about, when the disciple is ready we have gotten the lakshan, the particular characteristics and the attributes of Atmarpanu, this you're ready for this right thinking. I will talk very briefly about the names of the 6 fundamental truths, which is the major topic of our discussion. Okay, and you will see the main 6, which is basically the first, which is, and all of these 6, before we go into them, I just want to briefly tell you, we won't be able to talk about it in great detail today, but you know of the 6 fundamental, the 6 schools of philosophy, the Indian schools of philosophy, and you know, sometimes they're deciphered in different ways. So I'll just put it up, you know, there is one pair, which is the Nyaya and Vaisheshik schools of thought. The second, you can just go to that, which is the Sankhya and Yoga schools of thought. Okay, then there is Purva Mimamsa, which is Uttar Mimamsa, as you can see on the screen right now. Charvak, Jainism, and Buddhism. So this is a classification of the 6 schools of philosophy, of Indian schools of philosophy. And now we won't be able to go into detail on this, but each of the 6 fundamental truths that I will just talk about are the basis on which each philosophy builds its opinion. No matter which school of philosophy or spiritual knowledge, they do not revolve around any fundamental other than, so these are the very 6 core fundamentals that all of the schools of philosophy revolve around. Hence, by analyzing these 6 fundamentals, one can actually acquire the gist of the 6 philosophies as well. So it is important to note that the reason for starting, the reason Paramprupardev Srimad Rajchandraji has actually spoken about these 6 fundamentals is to note that for spiritual benefit, that was the main reason. That is the core reason for which Vicharva Atmarthane Bhakyo Atra Guru. It is only for the Atmarthi that these 6 fundamentals have been spoken. But he does say that they are also the 6 fundamental schools of thought. They have described them to elucidate only the supreme truth. One interested in knowing the supreme truth alone should contemplate upon these 6 fundamentals that all 6 schools of thought talk about. Now, throughout the 6 sections, which we will show, you will really see that a great master who is truly digested and can expound Anekantvad in its entirety. So we'll just go through the 6 fundamentals right now. The first fundamental truth, which both Rajuji and I will talk about, is that the soul exists. Atma Che. The second one, Atma Nitya Che. So the soul is eternal. The soul is eternal. And we'll be talking about a lot of question answers regarding each one of them. The third one, soul is the doer of karma. Next one, soul is the receiver of the fruits of karma. Bhokta, bhoge, bhog hota hai. Next one, there is liberation. The idea, there is a moksha and there is also a path to liberation. Moksha, Upai, all of these 6 exist. Okay, they seem very simple, but as we go deeper into it, we will see that truly, as I told you earlier, that how Anekantvad, he has been able to take all the 6 philosophies and weave it into these 6 fundamentals, and how in a very integrative and synthetic, synthesis he's been able to create, rightly synthesize these 6 schools of thoughts. He, very interestingly, he does not negate or appease any philosophy. So the entire Atmasiddhi Shastra is based on Jain school of thought, but he does not negate and talk about the Jain school of thought or any other school of thought directly. He does not negate anyone. He does not appease any philosophy, but appreciates all perspectives. Okay, while presenting a truly unbiased and truly separate view of the supreme truth. He expounds the truth, literally, from multiple viewpoints, which is the core of Anekant of Jainism. Okay, and it's really Paramprupardev Srimad Rajchandraji's excellence will be revealed as we go ahead with these philosophies. So I will invite Rajuji to please start with the first, soul exists, Atma Che.
Yeah, to continue with what Atmarpit Vidhiji said, to show that this whole thing is based on spirituality only. Srimad Rajchandra ji has never ever used the word Jain or Jainism in this whole Shastra, which shows that he was so unbiased and he wanted to just show the true path of liberation, right? So he has never ever condemned anyone. In fact, we have learned from this that how to accept other person's viewpoint and then produce what is the right thing. So coming to the very interesting part, which anyone from us would have thought some point in our life about soul, right? So the first fundamental, or I would say the first spiritual truth is regarding the soul. Usually in India we call Atma. So Atma che, soul exists. So I would really like to tell you how nicely Srimad Rajchandra ji has woven the doubts regarding the soul in such a compact way. Just 4 verses, right from 45 to 48, he is giving all the doubts regarding soul. So all present here, you might have come across this question in your life. What is this Atma? What is this soul? Does it really exist? If it exists, why can't we see it? In fact, this was my first question when I met my master. When he said that you are a soul, so I was wondering, if I am a soul, then why can't I see it? If I can't see my soul, at least I should be able to see someone else's soul. And I'll tell you frankly, before that, Atma, this word, was connected with horror movies only. It is that we have a master in our life who showed us what really it means by Atma. So some of the common questions which we do come across are, first of all, we said was, have you seen Atma? Have you seen a soul? Okay. If you have not seen it, there are many things which we can't see. For example, cool air from this AC, I can't see, but yes, I can feel it. So the disciple also puts his doubts in a very systematic way. First, Nati drashtima auto, I can't see it. Second, I can't experience by other senses also. And then he says, it may be a fashion to say that this is all Atma and this is soul. So it may be that this body itself is a soul, or my senses, because senses do the knowledge part, right? So senses may be the soul. And finally he says, whether a person is living or dead is finally decided by breathing. You know, everybody knows about COVID. So when does a person say that he has died? The doctor says he has died once he stops breathing. So you see how beautifully Srimad Rajchandra ji has put all the doubts which are possible to pop up have been put into these 4 verses. So these were the things. And finally he concludes, if I can see this mobile, yeah, right? So why can't I see Atma? Why can't I see soul? And he ends, I doubt whether something like soul exists. So one important thing which has to be stressed here is, here there is Guru and Shishya, master and disciple, and there is a dialogue between them. See, we were asking some questions to you people, right? But being online, it's not very easy or comfortable to answer and question you, but that is the best way to do discussion on philosophy. Because you can ask question and I can answer. Suppose for non-stop 2 hours, 1 hour, 20 minutes, I'm just speaking. You might get bored. But when I ask you a question, I give some example. So what happens? There is some dialogue and discussion. This is the style in which Atmasiddhi Shastra is written, which is point to be noted. And you know what? It reminds of Bhagavad Gita. In that also, Arjun asked questions to Shri Krishna. And Shri Krishna, how beautifully explains. So, you know what? Just like Bhagavad Gita also, this Atmasiddhi Shastra is a dialogue between a master and a disciple. Right? So, this is the most interesting part, and we are seeing that the disciple has put forth his questions The first question, why can't I see Atma? And you know what? How wonderfully Srimad Ji has explained, Je drashta che drashtino. Je drashta, the seer itself, is the soul. I'll ask you one question. Yeah, we like this question answer type, right? So I'm asking you a question. My eyes are seeing, right? You might say that only. Okay, why you want to bring Atma in between? My eyes are seeing and it is registering. No. I ask you one question. Dead body has an eyes? Dead body has eyes. Can dead body see? No, it cannot see. So that proves that eyes are not seeing. There was something inside the body which left. And after that you are calling it a dead body. And I'll tell you one, I can prove you practically. Suppose a person dies. Within some time you remove the eyeballs, right? And get it transplanted to someone who is blind. Now that person can see. The same eye, when it was in dead body, he couldn't see. But when it got transplanted into somebody else's person who is a living person, that person can see. So you know what? It is like the specs. Specs are just a medium. Specs cannot see. It is through the specs I am seeing. In the same way, eyes are not seeing. It is through the eyes someone is seeing, and that is soul. That is Atma. So it is very nicely explained here. Je drashta che drashtino. You know, this is a scene. And who is seeing the scene is the soul. So very, very nicely and beautifully, it has been explained here that there is something behind these eyes. See, you must be sitting in your home, right? Now just watch through your window. Can you see something out of the window? Yes or no? So I'll ask you a question. Is the window seeing? You will laugh at me. It is not the window who is seeing. It is myself who is seeing through the window. In the same way, eyes are not seeing. There is someone behind these eyes in this body who is seeing through these eyes. Can you get me? If you are listening to me and if you have understood this, at least on the chat message, please put your comments. So you know what? You must be knowing in this online classes, you feel like you are just alone speaking. But if you message me, it will give me a boost to explain. And I will come to know whether I should go more in depth or not. So when we think about this, see, we told no, Newton did some thinking, different thinking, right? And he came to know about gravitational force. If we also think about this soul, thinking differently, just on this question, who is the seer? And we may get answers of, and you know what? The other doubts he had, body can be the soul, senses can be said soul, or breathing can be soul. So Parampadev has very nicely said, Atma ni satta vade teha pravarte jan. It is because that there is a soul inside, all these things are working. Simple example I'll give you. You all are sitting in front of laptop, yeah? Or maybe a mobile phone. When does this laptop work? You may say it has a hard drive, it is having a webcam which is taking my picture, it is having an audio system, there is a mic, all these things are there, right? But I'll tell you one thing. Without electricity, this laptop will not work. You know, even we use these words, my laptop is dead. It's run out of power. In the similar way, I may have a very good brain, very good webcam, very good audio, very good motherboard. Everything is here. But if it doesn't have soul inside, nothing will work. So the best point is, whenever you think on these questions, on these points, as it said in Atmasiddhi Shastra, it will give an opening to a thinking differently, thinking about soul. And as Dr. B. Chandrika has said, okay, in Chandogya, it's called Akshi Purusha. So very nice. Thank you very much, Dr. Chandrika, for sharing your point. I like it. So now I'll come to something called philosophy. See, he ended with this point, right? He said, okay, why don't I know soul just like I know this mobile? And what beautifully Param Kupadev is explaining, Srimad Rajchandraji, is what knowledge you are having. You are accepting a mobile, right? But you are not accepting the knower of mobile. What type of knowledge you are having? And you know what? This is a very beautiful way Srimad Rajchandraji is questioning us. Oh, knowledgeable person, you are accepting the known, but you are not accepting the knower, what type of knowledge you are having. And so this whole section ends with a point. You all are from philosophy, so you must be knowing Descartes. He has said a very nice thing. I think, therefore I am. Right? I think, therefore I am. You know what he said? If there is thinking, there has to be a thinker. And imagine the same concept is been spoken by Srimad Rajchandraji. And he is saying, Atmani Shanka kare Atma pote aap, Shanka no karnar te achraj eha amap. This is really surprising. It is so surprising that you are doubting the doubter. You are getting this point? So very nicely, since you all are from this field of philosophy, you might be able to relate this. I think, therefore I am. In the same way, Srimad Rajchandraji ends with this section of the soul exists. A dead body cannot doubt. Yes, I can doubt because there is a doubter. And who is this doubter? This doubter is the soul. Right? Thank you very much, Srinivasan Krishnamurthy. I'm so happy that you are responding here on the chat box and resonating with me. So it gives a boost. Very nicely he has mentioned about Atma exists in the whole. Thank you so much, Srinivasan. We'll go to Atmarpit Vidhiji. Now she'll explain. If the soul is there, is it eternal?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Srinivasan. So we'll go ahead with the second fundamental here, which is Atma Nitya. The second, soul is eternal. So we can say that, as Rajuji said already, that until now, let's follow the psyche of the disciple. And it's very beautifully how the psyche of the disciple is traversing and growing. So here Atma Che has been established by the disciple and accepted that yes, it seems that the soul does exist. There has to be something like the soul, because until now, the disciple and our experience has only been, the soul has not been thought of or known only without a body. Therefore, the disciple also, the Agnani disciple, is unable to get a clear understanding of how can it be eternal. All practical senses, our daily experiences, we've seen things like COVID, established that there is an end in the form of death of a person. But the idea of death is simply a form, the death of a form. And the idea of deathlessness or formlessness, which was established, formlessness was established with Atmache, was unheard of now. You know, in this entire section, one of the first things that Srimaji talks about, and we'll go ahead, you can go to the next verse. The soul, one of the reasons, and first he moves through logic. So one of the main reasons why we would say the soul does exist is because the soul is not produced by association. We understand science, very basic chemistry and elemental science. We have mixtures, we have compounds, but what can you not break down are the elements. Okay, so a soul now is seen and accepted as a complete and separate element from the body that cannot be broken down further. And how is the soul produced? It is not produced by any association. There is no association that you can think of or that can be done that through which, putting together which, the soul can exist. Do you want the next one, Sharon? Okay. You cannot say that something that is physical matter, okay, Jadthi Chetan Upjes, any kind of physical matter can produce something like a soul. Because what is inanimate cannot produce but what is consciousness. So we'll move ahead. And a very classical example I'll talk about is the idea of a piece of cloth. Okay. Koi sanyog ho, the one that is not made with any association cannot be broken apart. And the classic example, and very often you will see in a lot of shastras, there is the example of gold. Okay, where gold changes its forms, but gold in itself does not change. So even something like, we can take something like this shawl, okay, or it can work as a dupatta, it can work as even a rag, but the fact that the cloth is there, it can be used as a shawl or a dupatta, but the cloth of it, the dravya of it will not change. Death is only a change in form. The eternal sense, the eternal soul is not changing. Here in each place, without naming, the humble disciple puts forth two arguments supporting his doubt regarding the eternal nature of the soul. One is influenced by the Charvak philosophy, and the second is under the influence, if you will go to see, of the Buddhist philosophy. Srimad Ji gives the vision to see, gives the right vision to see both of them in the correct manner. Okay, I'd like you to look at now verse 70. We can move there, in which he explains a timeless principle, and we all know of this principle. And if you all know, you all can say it with me. Is that matter can never be created or destroyed. It only changes form. So same thing he says. The creation and destructions of kyare koi vastu no kevad hoye na nash. No vastu, no substance can be completely destroyed. And if something like consciousness is destroyed, where do you think it goes into? So the creation and destruction that one sees are only the change of states of that very substance. Okay? Now contemplating upon this reveals that the soul too is a type of substance only. It does not merge into anything, as he said here, and is never completely destroyed. It changes states but remains constant in its nature as it undergoes modification. Since the soul is not a product of association that we accepted earlier, it is a natural substance that cannot but be destroyed or created. So Rajuji, we can move ahead with the Kartache aspect of it. Yeah. Also, just to clarify, we have till 8:30, right?
Yes, 8:30.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Kailash. Thank you. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, Vidhiji, to go ahead with it, what she said is so true. Matter cannot be produced, cannot be destroyed. So something very based on science. You know, in Jainism, we call it Vitrag Vignan. Vignan means science. So just as what science says, even in this Jainism also, this has been highlighted, very, very parallel to the principles of science. We find those in here. So now we think about this. Are we seeing very different things around us? There are a lot of disparities, lot of differences. What is the reason for this? Suppose I'll ask you one question. You are all senior people, you may be having children, maybe even grandchildren, right? So do you see differences in them? You have given the same amount of sanskar, you have given them same knowledge, the outer behavior, everything has been given same to them. Still you see a lot of differences in them. You might have one child who is very smart, very intelligent. The other child is not very intelligent. You have given the same thing to everyone. Why does this happen? One thing which all the philosophies in India would accept is, that word is karma. So you must have been heard, right, about karma. So karma, what is this karma? In Vedanta and other things, it is said karma means activities, actions. So what actions you have done in past will give some fruits now, right? What you do now will give fruits in future. In Jainism, we believe karma as material thing. They are very, very minute, very, very subtle. So it cannot be seen by these eyes. But yes, whenever I do such activities, and whenever we have these feelings inside, that rag and dvesh means attachments and aversions, they create a magnetic field and collect karmas. And these karmas bind with the soul. And what happens? It remains with the soul. They are like miniature time bombs. You know, time bomb, you set a time, you set an intensity, there is a amount of this thing which will go with it. So all these things are connected with time bomb. In the similar way, when I do good or bad actions, what happens? These karmas get bind with the soul, right? They are like sticky substance. And that sticky substance is my passions, amount of anger, greed, this all like Fevicol, they help stick, the karma stick with the soul. They bind with it. So now in this third section, so karma are some particles, right? So the question comes is, how or who binds these particles with the soul? So I'll give you some few examples. What are the doubts put up by the disciple? See, we are giving just a brief picture of what this Shastra is. It's like putting sagar into gagar. We are trying our best to put it, but when we go into the depths, we come to know how much Srimad Rajchandra ji has put meanings into this, right? So I'll tell you, we have 3-4 options. Either the karmas itself are attracting new karmas, right? Or it may be the nature of the soul itself. The soul itself has having a nature of binding, like it is having nature of knowing. It may be having nature of binding. Third is, it may be getting attached accidentally. Just like dust particles, you collect dust particles accidentally on the cloth. So similarly, the karmas are also getting attached. Or the fourth option is God. He is inspiring and getting this karmas done. Whether to do good activity, bad activity, he is the inspirer. So in this third section, who is the inspiring factor? And so Srimad ji says, okay, it is the soul itself is the inspirer because it is having that prerna shakti. I'll give you a very simple example. Suppose I'm going on a lane, right, with a stick in my hand. The stick is not having consciousness. It is inanimate, right? It doesn't have any knowledge, right? So I'm walking on the road and suppose a dog comes barking and it's coming to bite me. Now I'll ask you a question. Will this stick think about me? Oh, my master is being attacked by a dog. I should do something about him. And that stick himself goes and hits the dog. Is it possible? No. Because the stick is inanimate. But I can think in that way. Oh, that dog is coming to bite me. So to safeguard me or to defend me from the dog, I can take the stick in my hand and show it to the dog. Yes or no? In the same way, Srimad ji is explaining very nicely. Hoyena Chetana Prerna. Prerna means inspiring factor. If there is no inspiration of the soul, kaun rahe to karma? How will this karma get attracted? Jada swabhav nahi prerna. This jad, the stick which I am having in hand, it doesn't have any inspiration. It doesn't think. So karmas or anything else cannot bind. Only the soul has this. And now in the next section, Vidhiji will explain you with the example of an electromagnet. How does this attract? The karmas get attracted, that we will see. But before that, one point was there. Can God be the inspirer? See, karmas are inanimate. They cannot bind. But can God do it? How can God do it? Now I'll ask you a simple question. Let us take the current scenario, current example of Ukraine. We are having some issues, Russia and Ukraine. So if I say God is inspiring, now you know what? If something goes wrong, there will be a World War III. So does God inspire wars? Immediately one point will come in your mind. No, he cannot make so much of killings, right? So when we think on this, so you know what? We are just giving some pointers here. If we have time, we can go into the depth and take each and every point, how it has been negated. So here it shows. Prakash?
Yes, I think someone needs to just go on mute. Yeah, come on.
So very nicely, we come to the conclusion. Who is doing this karmas? The soul itself is doing karmas. So now, how it does karmas, how it attracts, Vidhiji will explain. And the most important point is how this inanimate karmas give the fruits will be explained by her.
Excellent. Thank you, Rajuji. I'll try and explain very simply. You already spoke about it. And I think many of you all I know have had in-depth discussion on that. I think Sushma Bain, Professor Sushma Bain, who's here, has spoken about karma theory and how karma, about the Jain karma theory and the philosophy of how karmas bind. So very simply, I'm going to talk about the principle of magnetism. And we all know that it is when an iron, a piece of iron, there is electromagnetic field moving through it, that the iron becomes active and becomes a magnet. Okay, so it is when this magnet is active, when the electric field moves through the piece of iron, it becomes a magnet, and it starts to, around it, all the filings which are iron, they are attracted to it. Okay, they are automatically attracted. When does this happen to the piece of iron? Only when it is magnetized, when the electromagnetic field is run through it. Is that fine? And this is a very simple understanding of basic electromagnetism. In the same way, this is a very simplistic analogy that is given to the idea of a soul and how karma particles are attracted to the soul. So in Jainism, we know that karma is seen as matter, minute particles which exist everywhere in the universe. Okay, so here, if the soul abides in its true nature, they simply pass. They're simply iron filings everywhere. But it is when it does not abide in its nature and it creates feelings of likes and dislikes, of aversion and attraction, okay, of attachment. That is the time, in a sense, the Atma Pradesh, what we call is, it does kampan, or it starts moving in a way that just as the electromagnetic field charges the iron and makes it magnetic, in the same way, this attraction and aversion, this feelings of attraction and aversion, which is called bhav karma, which I'll talk about very soon, it attracts the filings of karma, of the particles of karma, which are around it, which are immediately in its surrounding, and they stamp onto the karma. So they will stamp onto the Atma and they will become what is known as karma. So, and in that, with that stamping process, and I won't go into the detail because it's a very detailed topic on exactly how the different types of Ras Bandh, Pradesh Bandh, Sthiti Bandh, all kinds, the minute it is stamped, it has a very clear way in which the formation of how the karma will become in the future, okay, how it will come into what is known as Uday and fruition is also put in to that particular karma bandh and atma bandh. Okay, so and I'll give you and later I'll give you a very clear example, and many of you all will know that you all will have an alarm clock. We all have phones, and all of us have an alarm clock in the phones, and many of us we can, if we want, or we can put a 1-minute alarm. Okay, just a 1-minute alarm on it. Okay, and if we can't, we can just see that whenever we put that alarm, it gives that 1 minute. You also can decide what tone to put it, the timing in which it will be ring, and how exactly, whether it will be with vibration or it will not be with vibration exactly. Okay, yes, perfectly, as Rajuji is showing it. Thank you, Rajuji. In Jainism also, karma in the same way. So I'm going to give you the first question of the disciple, okay, which was just one before this. Sure. Here he asks Chetan, no, just, yeah. He asks here, Chetan jo nijbhan ma karta aap swabhav, varte nahi nijbhav ma karta karma prabhav. Okay, this is where Rajuji was speaking. And now here the disciples, just 1 second, my internet is going.
So let me continue. Here, very simple, I'll make it very, very simple. When I'm in Nijbhan, so I'll tell you two things. One is role and one is soul. So I'm in a role, right? Even you are in a role. So you are doing a role of, say, a father. And when you're doing a role of a father, if you get identified with it, you may get angry at times. My children are not listening to me. This is not right. This is wrong. So this is how we react, right? So role and soul. So if I am joined with the role, identified with the role, I gain karmas. But if I am having the awareness that I am not this role, I am the soul. So what happens, you know what? I don't attract new karmas. So this is how it happens. So it's very, very simple. This is the two words which Guruji taught us. Okay, you just do your role, but don't forget that you are soul. So when I'm into this awareness that I'm just an observer, I'm a sakshi, I'm a witness, I am not the role, automatically I stop getting angry, I stop reacting, and I stop attracting new karmas, right? So since Vidhiji is having some issues with the internet, so I'm going ahead with this. So the question would come into our mind, can you explain how the karma is binded, right? With the help of electromagnet. Now the question is, how does the inanimate karmas know that this is the result they have to give you, right? We should have some inspiration, right? Karma are not having any knowledge. So that is why this is what has been explained here. There is no need. Once you will, yes, Vidhiji, you can continue if you want.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm just going to go off my video. I'm having a little bit of bandwidth fluctuation here.
No, don't worry. I just came to that point that how the karmas being inanimate are giving the results. So I was just going to explain it with an example. So you can continue ahead if you want. We listen to you. That's nice.
Yeah, just 1 second. I think a gentleman has come. Can you continue for a minute? He's coming and he's starting my internet.
Okay, so I'll tell you what happens is, so I'll ask you a question. Suppose if I'm having some problem with my ear, okay, I'm having some infection and doctor has given me some antibiotic and I'm taking that antibiotic. How does this medicine know that it has to work here in the ears? Or if you're taking in heart medication, how does that medication know? So its simple answer is medication works on its own. Medication doesn't need to have that knowledge or consciousness to give the result, right? So as simple as that, just as you take the medicine and it works on your body on its own. In the similar way, karmas also, when I bind them, I am programming them. Just as I programmed the alarm now, what volume it should have, what time it should have, everything is programmed by me. So whenever I'm reacting in situations, what is happening? I am programming the karmas for the future. So today I have set a time bomb. So maybe after a few years or maybe after few lives also, this karmas will give its fruits and I'll have to experience it. Right? Vidhiji?
Sorry, I think you've spoken about Bhoktapad very beautifully, Rajuji. I'm sorry I had to come in and out.
No problem.
Yes. So are we done with the Bhoktapad?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll continue then.
Yeah. So now the next is fifth spiritual truth, or the fifth fundamental. Liberation exists. See, now, by common sense, I'll tell you. What happens when I do some good actions? Definitely, good actions, good seeds are sown. So what fruits I'll get? Good fruits I'll get. Yes or no? Right? What if I do bad actions, wrong actions? I'll get similar type of fruits. Yes or no? So the point comes here, कि fruits of doing good, you get heaven. Fruits of doing bad, you get hell. So continuously I'll be going in the world, right? Yes or no? No. Very nicely, Srimadji has explained here. Just as you have fruits of doing something, you also have to get fruits of not doing anything. So now this comes a little bit shocking to you, right? Not doing anything? Yes. The whole world is talking about doing. And here a spiritual master is saying what? He's saying you come to your being. Being means your true nature, the true nature of a peaceful and powerful soul. Just being witness, not reacting, but just responding, just witnessing. This is what is moksha. And I'll tell you, we had some visitors here from South, and they had come here to see the ashram. And all of a sudden I was introducing them to Srimadji and talking about Gandhiji and all these things. He immediately came and asked me a question. So what different or what great has been spoken by this Srimad Rajchandraji? And I answered him. The clarity of moksha given by him is simply amazing. You know what he said? In Gatha 123, he has said, Moksha kayo nij shuddhata. Nij means self. And shuddhata is purity. And how beautifully he said, te pame te pant. This inner purity, in whichever way you are getting, is path to moksha. So I am so happy to share with you that what a beautiful definition of moksha is given. Moksha, he didn't explain as a place or somewhere to go. He said moksha is something within me, within us all. So that purity is moksha, right? So very nicely he has explained the definition of moksha. So fruits of doing, in the similar way, fruits of non-doing. That means nivrutti. And that leads to the self-realization, that purity of experiencing, and it leads to moksha. So coming to the sixth spiritual truth, are there any means to attain this? Yeah, very nice. The Shishya, the disciple, asked the question, he is confused. There are so many different means of liberation. Which can I get? And you know what? In some religion, they say Shudras cannot attain moksha. So he's getting confused. Okay, is there a particular caste I have to be born in? And very nicely, Srimadji is explained here, is you may be in any caste, you may be in any religion, you may be wearing any type of clothes. If you follow the path of liberation as shown here, you will definitely attain moksha. So very nicely he has explained, you know what, there are two gathas here which are called milestone gathas. Milestone is a stone by which you come to know how much you have gone ahead in this spiritual journey. So he says, Rag Dvesh Agnante Mukhya Karmani Granth. Attachment aversion and ignorance are the main knots of karma. So I'll explain you with a very simple example. Suppose you have invited me, and we all have come from ashram to your place, to your university, and we are having talking. Then you say we will have a very good program here, so we can enact different roles. So you give me a role of, say, Akbar, King Akbar, and I become King Akbar in that skit. I'm wearing that turban and all sword and everything I'm having in my hand, and I'm enacting very much like King Akbar, right? After the skit gets over, I am not leaving my sword, I'm not leaving my turban, I am enacting, I'm feeling as if I'm still King Akbar only. What will happen? Everywhere I'll have problems. I'll go and tell Pramod Bhai, Pramod Kumar Das, why is this not proper? I am King Akbar, you should make arrangements for this and that. What will Pramod Kumar tell me? See, you are not King Akbar, you are Mr. Rajuji. Yes or no? Right? So this is the way that ignorance is creating the anger in me, right? Similarly, this is the path shown by Srimad Rajchandra ji, that ignorance has to be come out first. So once ignorance has been left, automatically attraction and aversion, attachment and aversion will be left, and this is the path to moksha. And the best part is the second line. Thaya nivrutti jehati. Jehati means by whichever means you do this is path to moksha. I feel this is the best part of Srimad Rajchandra ji, which proves that he is explaining just the spiritual truth to us. He is not biased towards Jainism or maybe to any religion. He is talking about the supreme truth. So, simple example I'll give you before going to the next gatha. In the next gatha also very milestone gatha. So this is, I have to leave. What should I gain? I should gain Atma Sat Chaitanyamay, Sarva Bhas Rahit. So, Sat, consciousness, eternal existence. This, however you can get it, that is the path to the moksha. So you know what? Husband and wife. Husband is asking wife, okay, what should I do? Should I do a business? Should I do a job? Or should I do smuggling to earn money? You know what wife said? See, you do whatever you want. I want 40,000 per month to run this house. So I want 40,000. How to get it is your problem. Similarly, Srimad ji is telling here, these two things has to happen. Attachment and aversion should go. Pure soul should be experienced. Whatever way you can get it. So if somebody comes and says, can I do Vipassana? Yes, you can do Vipassana, but you should experience your soul. If someone comes and says, can I do no mind meditation? Yes, you can do it. I want this result. So this is how Srimad ji has explained. And you know what he's saying? Jati Vaishno Bhed Nahi, Kayo Marg Jo Hoy. This path which has been shown here, whoever does it, he may be a Jain, he may be a Buddhist, he may be a Christian, he may be a Shaivite, whoever he may be, if he is doing this thing, he is going to experience his true self and he is going to experience liberation. So this is how beautifully, without being biased to any philosophy, he has been explaining what is the supreme truth and the real path to moksha. And very nice example is again. I think each and everyone here will agree with this point of Srimad ji. He's saying very nice thing. Karma bandh krodhaditi. Does everyone here experience anger? Yes or no? You can answer on chat box. I'll wait. because that way I can come to know whether you are listening to me or not. Yes. So we experience anger. Yes. Tell me one thing. When we experience anger, do we feel good? No. We don't feel good. There is, and lot of diseases are connected with anger. Yes or no? Similarly, this is our experience. No one is comfortable in being angry. Now I ask you one more question. Have you ever asked for forgiveness to someone? After being angry, going to that person and saying, sorry, I lost my temper. Please forgive me. Yes or no?
I have done it, sir.
Definitely. I am so happy, Srinivasan, you are answering here. That gives a very good feeling that you are listening to me. So, everybody's experience is there. When I am angry, I am uncomfortable. When I ask for forgiveness, or even when I forgive someone, I feel very, very light. And this is the experience Srimad Ji has put here in the path to liberation. As you experience lightness in forgiveness, you are on the path to liberation. Because my soul is getting free of these passions. Yes or no? I am feeling so good. I feel that universal love for everyone when I am into forgiveness. Yes or no? Yes. So this is how beautifully he has explained. So I will summarize this path of liberation in this. In Gujarati we say, Parthi khas, swama vas, atlu bas, par ko chodo, swa mein bas jao, itna bas hai. Leave the non-self, settle in the self, do nothing else. This is the essence of what Srimad Ji is saying in this section, this sixth spiritual truth, which is there is path to liberation. So I would say, I am so happy and I am so blessed, so fortunate that I have got Srimad Rajchandra Ji, who was the spiritual mentor of Gandhiji. And the best part is, I am having a living master in my life, Shri Gurudev Shri Rakesh Ji, who is guiding me. And he is not just guiding me, he is helping me to experience this. You might be seeing when I was talking about forgiveness, how I'm experiencing it. So we will be seeing a short video on this as well. So this is what I want to conclude here. How beautifully Srimad Ji has explained the 6 spiritual truths regarding the soul. Whether the soul is existing, it is permanent, it is eternal, it is the doer of karmas, it is the receiver of the fruits of karmas, there is liberation and there is path to liberation. So I would really love to invite you all that you please come to this holy land in Dharampur and experience what we were speaking about this in this whole lecture. And now Vidhiji will, Sharan will show the video which will introduce you to our mission, to our Guruji and to all the activities here. Sharan?
Yes, just a minute.
A state expounding.
Yeah, now we are having audio. That's nice. Please show the video also to everyone.
One at a time.
We are happy to see Sushma Parekh also here. She had been explaining about karma theory. She has been here and a very ardent devotee of Puja Gurudev Shri. And so it's like a family. And as a family, even I also welcome you to have an experience here.
Expounding the teachings of Jainism, a mystic, revealing to the world the path of peace, love and happiness, a Sadguru, touching and transforming countless lives. Pujya Gurudev Sri Rakesh Bhai, an ardent devotee of the spiritual titan Srimad Rajchandraji, who is respected as the foremost spiritual guide to Mahatma Gandhi. Pujya Gurudev Shri's limitless compassion and endearing personality reaches out to seekers across the world, beyond the boundaries of age, religion, race or nationality. Pujya Gurudev Shri is the founder of the Srimad Rajchandra Mission Dharampur, a spiritual organization which guides seekers to realize one's true self and serve others selflessly through its international headquarters at Dharampur, Gujarat. And its numerous centers worldwide. This divine luminary has offered insightful expositions of several scriptures through thousands of hours of discourses. These are complemented by self-management workshops and meditation retreats called sadhana bhattis. Sacred festivities enrapture multitudes of seekers, offering joy and elevation. Pujya Gurudev Shri's affable demeanor has built friendly ties with eminent global spiritual leaders and organizations. He has also attended and addressed prestigious congregations and forums across the world.
मैं गुरुदेव राकेश जी का जितना अभिनंदन करूं उतना कम। वो ज्ञान मार्गी भी है, कर्म मार्गी भी है, और मैंने देखा है विश्व भर में एक बहुत बड़ा समूह है जो उनके व्याख्यान सुनने के लिए मिलते हैं। लगातार सुनने वाला एक बहुत बड़ा वर्ग। राकेश जी से मिलने का अवसर मिला, मैं अपना अहोभाग्य मानता हूँ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Fondly known as the leader of the youth, this modern-day mystic is steering thousands of young lives towards a higher purpose through the finely crafted 5S program, which encompasses satsang, sadhana, seva, sanskriti, and sports. These youngsters are yoked to the divine by being a part of the various youth groups of the mission. Born out of Pujya Gurudev Shri's vision for a child's holistic development is Srimad Rajchandra Divine Touch. Through three main programs, Magic Touch, Arhat Touch, and Spiritual Touch, this initiative provides value-based lessons to children the world over. A manifestation of his infinite compassion is Srimad Rajchandra Loving Care, a unique tenfold benevolent program with over 50 initiatives in different parts of the world. This program is extending a helping hand to millions.
There is a mighty mission within us which we need to accomplish. Create new pathways within to live on a higher plane for a higher purpose with higher awareness and energies, which will lead you to self-discovery
Therefore, come enrich your life with spirituality and experience the transformation.
Yes, so you got an introduction to what a wonderful place we are here right now, and eager to see you all here again. But before we end, let me tell you one thing. There is one more section in the end which Srimadji had taken, and it is called Upsamhar, means conclusion. And you know, the best part of this conclusion is that he is giving all the pitfalls which come in the spiritual journey, and he has all plugged those pitfalls so that one may easily reach his desired goal. So the thing was, the one of a very beautiful point in that कि सर्व जीव छे सिद्धसम जे समझे थे थाय. So the best part, what he is highlighting is, each and every one of us are having potential to reach that supreme state. So, you know what? This is what touched me the most. Usually we think that this is not our cup of tea. We are not really so good. But when he himself is telling that you are potentially God itself. So very good example, our spiritual mentor, Sadhguru, they told us, he said, Rakeshji told us that everything is ready. You just need to cut the ribbon. Your whole palace is ready. In the same way, we all are very, very pure souls within ourselves. The only thing is we are not knowing the nature of it. And so with Atmasiddhi Shastra, Atmasiddhi, so Atma means soul, myself, my own self, and Siddhi means to achieve it. Let us all achieve our true self, experience the true bliss, experience the true peace within us, and you know what? Spread this love, this peace throughout the world, and let this world be a very, very good place for us and all of us. And I am so happy that you all being connected with philosophy, we can all come together and spread this beautiful knowledge, and most important is not just knowledge, the happiness within us, the love within us. So we have finished 10 minutes before, just so that if you want to share something, if you want to convey something to us, you want to ask some questions, we can definitely do it.
So actually there were some questions that came in. So if anyone wants to ask questions, I'm sorry, because of my thing is fluctuating, I'm not going to get on video. But if you have any questions, then please feel free to ask us, because we've taken a very quick overview of the entire scripture. So there may be some things that may not have connected. Then this is a good opportunity to ensure that we do connect on all of those areas. Please feel free to get off to speak, and you can unmute yourself. Okay. I think Pramod sir, Dr. Okay. Dr. Kailash, I think we don't have any questions.
We have questions, but at the end of the talk, we will have questions. Okay,
okay, so we
have,
yes, sir. So we are with this, we have completed our conclusion with Rajuji.
Vidhiji, since we are having time, can you show the video of Atmasiddhi Shastra? It would be very
interesting. That would be lovely. Yes.
So
yes,
let
please.
us see, so everybody would enjoy that.
Yes, Sharan, please go ahead.
Yes.
spirituality was losing its essence over 150 years ago, came an enlightened being, Srimad Rajuji, who dispelled the darkness of delusion, paving the passage to complete purity. In the form of an encyclopedia of all spiritual wisdom, Atmasiddhi Shastra.
So we can also show a little bit about a quick video, a little bit about Paramprapadev Srimad Rajchandraji and the Srimad Rajchandra Mission Dharampur.
Rajchandraji, Yug Purush.
Ye hai Yashogatha Anupam.
His divine personality took birth on the hallowed land of Saurashtra in the blessed village of Vanya.
Ekadhyatma yogi ka hua janam.
At the tender age of 7 years, the visual of a burning fire triggered in him an intense journey.
Will they burn away such a nice person? How cruel! What is the reason for this? His body looks the same. So what has changed? What is separated and left him? It means that the body and the one living inside the body must be two different things.
This profound journey led to the attainment of Jati Smaran Jnana, the recollection of his 800 past lives. Srimadji was endowed with numerous extraordinary powers, of which one was the very incomparable and rare demonic power of Shatabdi.
He has this amazing personality who can handle not only 1 or 2 or 10 or 15 tasks, but 100 tasks at a time.
He was conferred with the title of Sakshat Saraswati. The fragrance of Shatabdhani Srimadji's fame spread nationally and even internationally. An invitation was received to perform these experiments in Europe. However, rejecting worldly fame, he chose to remain engrossed in the spiritual well-being of his soul. Destiny dictated an unexpected turn in the life of this great saint, who was immersed in dispassion and detachment, and he had to take on the yoke of business and the life of a householder. During this time, in contact with Srimadji came Sri Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi.
Srimad Rajchandraji, I adoringly addressed him as Raichand Bhai or Kavi. When I first met him, it was the year 1891.
Meet Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, and he is Raichand Bhai.
Srimad Rajchandraji has played a major role in transforming this Mohan into a Mahatma. He was my guide, my inspiration, my very good friend. And yes, I am his devotee.
To whom Mahatma Gandhi has dedicated an entire chapter in his autobiography. And for this saint, Mahatma Gandhi says, "Such was the man who captivated my heart in religious matters, as no other man has till now. I have said elsewhere that besides Kavi, Srimadji, Ruskin and Tolstoy have contributed in forming my intrinsic character. But Kavi has had a more profound effect. Srimadji's teachings not only spiritually uplifted Mohandas Gandhi, but are transforming the lives of many seekers. Many ashrams, temples, and organizations dedicated to Srimad Rajchandraji are spreading his inspirational teachings and eliminating the darkness of ignorance from countless souls. Several organizations dedicated to Srimadji are active not only in India, but all around the world. Discourses based on Srimadji's teachings go beyond the boundaries of geography, nationality, religion, caste, etc., and illumine the path of spiritual transformation world over. Srimadji's teachings have taught the youth the essence of religion, which lies beyond mechanical rituals and pedantic knowledge, and have directed them towards a higher goal. Inspired by Srimadji's life and teachings, thousands of children have enriched their spiritual heritage. Through various social activities like the hospital, school, animal shelters, etc., numerous deprived and underprivileged lives have been touched with Srimadji's compassion. Year 2017, on the occasion of Srimadji's 150th birth anniversary, the Government of India honored this spiritual luminary through the launch of commemorative coins and stamps by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi.
श्रीमद राजचंद्र जी असामान्य व्यक्तित्व, उनका ज्ञान, उनके स्वानुभव से निकली हुई एक एक बात, जिन्होंने हमें इतनी बड़ी अंतः चेतना को जगाने का रास्ता दिखाया। श्रीमद राजचंद्र जी के व्यक्तित्व की वो कौन सी विशालता होगी, वो कौन सी ताकत होगी कि जिसने पूरे के पूरे गांधी को अपने में समेट लिया। मैं गुरुदेव राकेश जी का जितना अभिनंदन करूं उतना कम है। वो ज्ञान मार्गी भी है, कर्म मार्गी भी है। उनके विचारों का बीज श्रीमद राजचंद्र जी की प्रेरणा से पला हुआ है, बड़ा हुआ है। और मैंने देखा है विश्व भर में एक बहुत बड़ा समूह है जो उनके व्याख्यान सुनने के लिए मिलते हैं, लगातार सुनने वाला एक बहुत बड़ा वर्ग। राकेश जी से मिलने का अवसर मिला, मैं अपना अहोभाग्य मानता हूँ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Continuing to inspire numerous lives even after 150 years is this epitome of boundless compassion, Srimad Rajchandraji.
Thank you so much, Sharan, for introducing us, everyone, to this video. And now I would like to share something. This is that wonderful book, the short, concise and complete commentary by my living master, Puja Gurudev Shri Rakesh Ji. And this is very short but very detailed information regarding this Atmasiddhi Shastra. We just spilled some beans only, that's all. So I would introduce you and suggest that if you can spare time, this will lead us to self-realization. Yeah. So thank you so much. Our time is up now. It's 8:30. We have finished everything in this stipulated time. Thank you so much, Pramod Kumar Dash, Shri Kailash Chandra Morana. Thank you so much. We really enjoyed sharing this with you. And this is a very good platform you people have made to share knowledge within those who love knowledge. That is philosophy. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks so much, Atmarpit Rajuji ma'am, and Atmarpit Rajuji sir, for reflecting on the philosophy of Guru Puja Gurudev, Parampada Srimad Ramchandraji. Within a short span of time, really it is a great and auspicious evening for all of us. Indeed, the joint talk of both on Atmasiddhi Shastra has inspired us, has enlightened us, and you have unfolded the spiritual journey of Gurudev. We explained how Gurudev was the spiritual master of Mahatma Gandhi, and you also explained, reflected his spiritual life. He reflected Gurudev's philosophy of the basic requirements of Shastra and to realize the soul. And I don't want to explore all the things that you have spoken. Really, your speech has enlightened us. You have unfolded the two types of deluded people, that is activity without knowledge and knowledge without activity. And you said how Gurudev had synthesized both the activity and the knowledge, and which can put inner information within, that is inner transformation within all, and focusing on the dry intellectuals and mechanical ritualists. You have beautifully clarified the philosophy of Gurudev, and I don't want to explore all the things. Mainly, what I want to explore that Gurudev has explained 6 spiritual truths or fundamental spiritual heights that you have mentioned. The soul exists, soul is eternal, soul is the doer of karma, soul is the receiver of fruits of karma, liberation exists, and the path to liberation through positive and negative assumption. In a conclusion, you have very beautifully presented the pitfalls in spiritual journey in order to reach at the desired goal, because you have reflected how each had the potentiality to have the spiritual goal, the spiritual reflection in his life. I don't want to repeat all the things that you both have said. Really, to have you both have enlightened us, and we are eager to know the detailed philosophy of Gurudev Ji. Now, I request Professor Pramod Kumar Das to carry on the interactive session. So, Professor Pramod Kumar Das. Professor Pramod Kumar Das, please the interactive session with your observation also.
We can't hear you, Pramod Bhai. I think you need to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
It's audible.
I shall speak letters. Now I shall request Dr. Ranjit
I think Ranjit Ghosh has left.
Okay. Then I shall request Professor. Please have your observation or appreciation. Give your blessings also through your sweet comments.
Pramod, not clearly audible.
Hello.
Yes. Now audible clearly.
I request Professor Susma Parekh Madam to speak something. Okay. Then I shall speak something.
Thank you, sir, Pramod Kumar, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Continue.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rajuji and Vidhiji. We're so blessed to have you here. So enlightening to see you, your happy faces, and most of all, to listen to the whole Atmasiddhi Shastra summary in such a concise, clear, with good example. It's amazing. We really, really enjoyed. Dilip, my husband, he's here too. So thank you, Pramod Kumarji sir and Srinivas sir. Because of you, we are here. Because I did not know anything about this philosophy family, and Srinivas sir really introduced us. I came there, talked about karma theory. You encouraged us so much that I really thought then Atmarpit, Vidhiji and Rajuji can come and talk about Atmasiddhi Shastra. So I've been with the mission for almost like 15 years now, and I'm so blessed to have Guruji in our life and lead our path to the enlightened, how we can get the enlightenment, because our goal is to attain the self-realization in this life. Human life is so rare to have that, and having that precious human birth, if we can utilize our life to attain the self-enlightenment ourselves and help others. And that's the mission of Srimad Rajchandra Mission Dharampur, and our Guruji is really helping us to get there. So having Rajuji and Vidhiji to talk about 6 fundamental truths, and how that having faith in that truth and applying those principles in our life, we can elevate ourselves and attain realization. So I'm so thankful and grateful for you both having here and helping, and the whole philosophy family. We are so grateful and we are so blessed to be part of this thing, because first time when I came here, I wasn't sure if I can really talk about Jainism and talk about, all the karma theory and all that thing. Because of you, you encouraged me, and it was so well received. And I thought, oh yeah, I can talk to, so far I've been talking to Jain family and Jain people, right? Because they know some basic background, and it's very easy to tell them. But when outside Jainism, all the people with different type of faith system, if you can embrace Jain philosophy and you welcome and you kind of, encourage us to be part of it. So it's so thankful and grateful for that. So thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to coming back again and talk about Samvar Nirjara. Pramod Kumar sir, you encourage me for that. So once I have time, I'll come back and talk about that. And then other thing probably will be really helpful is to talk about the 14 stages of spiritual progression. So I'll take that topic also. And please, Rajuji and Vidhiji, come back again and take different topics. They give such a nice example, and they tell us really, how to understand the really principles which are very hard to understand, but with the examples, it makes it so clear. So please come back again and talk about different topics. Thank you so much. Thank you again. We are very much grateful for it.
Thank you, Pramod Kumar. Thank you, Srinivasan ji. Pramod Kumar ji, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kailash.
Thank you, everyone.
I am really grateful to Dr. Srinivasan ji, who has really introduced all of you to the philosophy family.
All the credit goes to Professor Sushama ji, sir. I am simply nothing, a catalyst.
Okay, shall I speak something at the end?
Yes, please.
Yes. I really appreciate the conviction, the approach of both the speakers regarding Atmasiddhi, Atma Sadhaka, Atma Sadhana, and Sadhya. Sadhya means the process. All these things were very beautifully discussed and presented by both the speakers. The fundamental thing is, when we speak of Atmasiddhi or self-realization, there the fundamental question comes to our mind: who am I? Who is asking this question? Who is asking the question whether I am a form or formless? There are two possibilities. Form is mithya, that is appearance, that is prapancha, and formless is the ultimate. So there are two fundamental views also, two types of philosophy also. One philosophy says that the pure consciousness, Atman, that is akarta, abhakta, that means he is not the doer of any action and he is not the receiver of any action. This is the Vedantic view, who says it is akarta, abhakta. Who is doing, who is receiving, that is jiva. So this is one philosophy. But the special feature of Jaina philosophy is that Jaina system advocates